Good evening, everyone. My name is Brony Buck, and today I'm joined by Skan120, and we're going to be talking about the main 6 dev team and really what Hasbro has in store for creative bronies and the fan-made content that we produce. So, right away, all I can think of is that this is, from the main 6 perspective, it's a parody. It should be covered under First Amendment, fair use clause, copyrights, things like that. So I'm not entirely certain why, all of a sudden, Hasbro, which seemed to be so cool about fan-made content, seems to be cracking down on parodies, such as Friendship is Witchcraft, Equestria Girls, all sorts of things like that, including the main 6 development team. Skan, can you tell me what your thoughts are on this?
Looking through stuff, first off, it has less to do with the parody and stuff and due to the trademark laws, which because Fighting is Magic falls into one of the categories of products they make, games. It actually comes, from what I can tell of the law that they might be interpreting it, it actually brings them up as a competitor to them. And thus it threatens the copyright.
Okay.
Or the trademark, and they are forced to act.
Okay. Now, how exactly would Main 6, a project which has been the whole way completely voluntary, completely non-profit, not even accepting donations, how could that be possibly seen from a legal standpoint or from the perspective of Hasbro as any type of competitor?
It's less to do with them directly being the competitor and more of if later people tried to do it for profit, they can point to this project as not being touched when it came out, even though Hasbro knew they were using their images and stuff, and would weaken any court case they had against other people trying to do the same thing. Because they failed to defend in the past, even if it was non-profit, it weakens them in the future.
Have you found any type of precedence that would point to that being a possibility? My first instinct from what you just said would be to simply come back and shut it down, saying, well, your parody or whatever you're doing is using our product for profit, whereas these people were not. Therefore, yours, which is for profit, is not allowed, and, you know, the main 6 should be allowed to operate within the parameters of the fair use clause.
You'd think that, but unfortunately the whole parody thing is also extremely murky and can be argued it's more of when you go to court, the judge decides whether it is a parody or not. And most parodies directly are making fun of the actual show, which you can kind of say this is, but not directly. Not like other works like a bridge series and things like that.
But abridged series are also part of this discussion to a certain degree as well. We know, let me see, the Mentally Advanced series was stricken from YouTube. Friendship is Witchcraft was stricken from YouTube. We're seeing all sorts of things like this all of a sudden. And
that is actually, wasn't going to come to it yet, but I guess I'll bring up the whole pulling the episodes off of YouTube, which is perfectly understandable. Some people might still be asking why they are doing it now and they didn't do it before, which seems to be because Hasbro recently tried to sell My Little Pony to China and was responded with, why should we buy your show if we can get it off YouTube for free?
Okay.
So, with that being said, they decided to go after their copyright because now it was actually losing the money. It actually was damaging them. So,
right.
In that respect, you can understand why they did it.
Yeah, and when I read about that, go ahead.
Then, that's where you come into the other stuff that's a problem. It is actually not Hasbro, although Hasbro's the only one who can fix it. It is actually YouTube that is taking down all these others. They are using their automated system to go around looking at videos for the content to identify the episodes without having to look individually. And unfortunately, since these shows have long stretches of images from the show, they are then tagged as the episodes.
I see. The tags probably don't help either. I can imagine a lot of these parodies, a lot of these videos, Friendship is Witchcraft, Mentally Advanced series, things like that, would have things such as Hasbro My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, things like that in the tags, which probably cue off the automated system. I'm going to have to take your word on that because I'm not entirely certain how the automated system works. It used to be just for audio, that I know if your audio matched up. They had programs that matched up your audio with copyrighted things that they had in their database, and if the audio matched up, then they would take a look at it and likely take it down, or it would just get stricken right away depending on the individual complaints of the client.
That's definitely not true now, as if that was true, most of the commentators' videos would not have been hit, because their audio over the audio would have messed up that system.
Okay. Yeah, I know something happened to DigiBrony.
Plus, a lot of the commentators that did not get hit used face cams in their commentary, which seemed to get past the whole identification program.
I see. Then I wonder what happens to mine, because I don't think any one of my reviews anyway, have matched third-party content, and I tend to use the full-screen version occasionally with clips of the audio. It's probably just that the clips are so few and far in between on my videos.
Short.
Yeah, and they're short.
They're just short clips.
Yeah, for example, I did that One Bad Apple review, and it was 20 minutes long-ish. Almost 21 minutes long, and I think I only used 3 or 4 full screen clips with the actual audio, things like that. So I guess that would make sense. I know something happened to DigiBrony where he decided to switch to the avatar or the face cam with the top thirds episode playing in the screen there, picture in picture, rather than having it full screen. So that I think that was the reason that he decided to do that as well.
Yeah, he also sometimes ran like 4 to 5 minute clips. He ran some pretty long scenes, long enough to be identified.
Oh, I see. So that would definitely cause a problem then. But I'm not against Hasbro for striking the full episodes off of YouTube. I always felt that the fair use clause was there to protect people like us, people who are creative, who want to contribute our fan art to the show, our music, and our video game making talents, or our, comedic abilities to abridge something, and now that seems to be getting threatened. Does Hasbro have any reason to be doing this? Any real reason, aside from wanting to sell it to China, which at this point isn't even a big deal?
Mainly they have to protect their property at this point to do the sale and stuff, because they have to keep their stockholders and investors happy, which selling to China and the other countries will give more revenue to them. So it is actually a big deal to them that they get these sales through to the other countries.
If that's the case, I wonder if there's a way to let the shareholders know that, well, firstly, before I even go off on a tangent about that, we should probably find out if that's even the case. What do you think we would need to do in order to elicit any type of response from Hasbro to find out exactly what their intentions are and what is going on?
That's the real problem. Due to the fact that I think this is why I don't think they're maliciously attacking us or anything. I think they literally don't care. Which you say, okay, they don't like us. No, don't care means they don't hate us. They don't like us. They just are indifferent. So they could really care less what's going on with us, whether we're having our videos and enjoying them or not, as long as their stuff's being down. So even though Friendship is Witchcraft and all that got hit in the crossfire, they don't want to take the time to listen and go through the annoying steps it would take to get those back.
So you don't think there's any way to elicit any type of official response from them to the fans?
I don't think they really care enough to respond to the fans.
I see. Now, a couple of different people, myself included, have different thoughts on that. Brony Curious, a couple of days ago, when he ranted about this, he suggested, a type of peaceful protest would be to support people who make fan art, such as things like plushies or customs and things like that, just to try to send a financial message to Hasbro that we are a good part of their of their revenue, their financial intake that they take from this, between iTunes downloads of the episodes, between I know that there's a lot of bronies out there that will buy the official merchandise just to support the show, things of that nature. I disagreed with that, because if they actually see, I've seen more so in the past, that if they actually see a type of revenue loss from anything, like if suddenly a big part of their income just disappears, the part that would have been filled in by the bronies. Whenever this happens with something like video games, it's not the publishers that get the message. The publishers see that the studio isn't doing well, and therefore, instead of trying to do anything to fix the problem, it would simply be easier to cut it off altogether. Then A&Y Pony said, just simply contact the hub, contact Hasbro peacefully and respectfully, so, to whom it may concern, with sincerest respects, I believe this for these reasons. And just like if every brony were to do that, just flood their inboxes, we might elicit some sort of PR response for the purpose of PR, is what I was trying to say. What do you think about that? Do you think that would work?
That's the hard one to do, because they might respond, but as I see a bunch of people saying, petitions, letters, all that thing, they usually just don't get through to these kind of guys.
I see. Why do you think that is?
Once again, going back to, they just generally don't care. And I have to agree with the side of the people who think that we overestimate how much of their revenue we are. I think that we are a small percentage compared to the little girls who buy from this show. So any protest of us stopping buying the toys probably won't even really be that effective.
You see, my first instinct...
You'd have to somehow get the parents and the little girls to also get in on this, and then they'd see a huge drop, but that's most likely not happening.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. little girls don't really care about any of the things that I doubt, my little sister is, my little god sister is, she doesn't even follow My Little Pony, but if she did, I don't think she would care about fighting is magic. I don't think she would care about friendship is witchcraft. I doubt her mother would even allow her to watch, friendship is witchcraft. So no, she doesn't care. And like I said, I'm pretty certain that if they felt any kind of financial drop, they would just associate it with the show not doing well and cut the show off altogether. And at that point, the question would remain just, is the fandom self-sustaining? Would we be able to, just keep going and making our own, pony stuff and animations and episodes and things like that, which I'd like to believe that we are, but I don't think that's ultimately, I don't think that's the case. So you don't believe it's a matter of numbers or anything like that. Do you have any other points that you would like to bring up?
Unfortunately, I think this all got started because, as a bunch of people phrase it, friendship is magic broke the surface. I know one of the biggest questions everybody keeps screaming is, why did they wait 2 years? Why did they let these guys waste 2 years of their life before dropping the bomb? And they say they must have noticed, like last year when all the streams and stuff went up of the tournament at EVO, which I believe it did not get too big there that year because it was not elected or anything. It was not brought to the forefront. So I believe, this is just a belief, I have no idea or not, but I believe that Hasbro has known about this project for the last year, but they were able to ignore it. They didn't care enough. They're like, whatever, let it keep going. We don't care. Then, which also, this is confirmed, the main six did not enter their game into the contest. So they did not do anything dumb there. One overeager fan or something entered them into the 2013 EVO fighting game tournament.
Well, for something like EVO, I doubt it was just one.
Yeah, so it was entered in, which they were fighting for the 8th slot in the tournament, which to vote for it, you went to a site and donated to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. So this brought them to the forefront, and what most likely happened, this also no longer would just Hasbro notice this, but now their shareholders would possibly see this, their investors. And thus, then it would bring in the trademark thing, and they have to protect their investors. So they were essentially forced to act because of how public this became. Otherwise, there is the possibility that their own stockholders could sue them for doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Now, if this were to go to court, on the off chance that this goes to court with Main 6, what do you think would be the case for either side, and who do you think would prevail ultimately?
Ultimately, I think Hasbro, due to the fact that the copyright and trademark laws are so outdated and can be twisted so much to help any of the corporations. Not to mention that the thought that the Main 6 would have the financial power to get a good enough lawyer to match up with Hasbro's is not very likely.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting thing, I was trying to find where I'd read about this before, but I wasn't able to, but I heard somewhere about if they did go to court and the Main 6 lost, they could then safely put out the game if Hasbro allowed it without threatening the trademark. But I wasn't able to find the full thing about this. So going to court and losing could actually be an option, but that would
sounds
also
awful suspicious. I'm not sure how anyone can win anything by losing in court.
It would be because it would show that Hasbro defended their property and they successfully defended it. Thus, it would no longer be a threat in the future.
And that wouldn't threaten the game or the entirety of fan-made content to begin with?
No, because with all the other stuff, as I said, this one broke the surface. Everything is down, and no one really notices it.
I see.
It's if something breaks the surface and is huge and does not have their permission, which thankfully Sonic Rainboom does, or Double Rainboom does have their permission, so even though it's broken the surface, it does not threaten their trademark.
I see. Do you think this trend of fan-made content getting pulled will continue, and if so, how far do you think it will go?
After everything I've looked up and stuff, no, I think they're going to stop. Like I said, each of the things, the videos being pulled, my witchcraft being taken down, this whole game, each one can be traced to a big event happening that could be said to force Hasbro's hand. And this is why I don't think that they're maliciously attacking the fan base, and I think it will stop as long as nothing else becomes so big they can't ignore it.
Okay. Well, that's all for the points that I have. Did you have anything else you'd like to bring to the light before we wrap this up?
Just two things. One, what Lauren Faust is supposedly offering to make these people original OCs for their game. I don't think Ponies, something actually completely new, and that would be cool, but
I'm not entirely certain how serious she was, and if she was, I'm not certain how much she'd actually be able to do about it. I don't know, it's definitely something to consider and think about, but first we got to find out if she was actually sincere in that, and then we'd have to find out exactly what she could do. Go ahead.
And then it would also depend on if the Main 6 wanted to, because changing all that and stuff would probably add a few, if not 1 to 2 more years to making the game, and I'm not sure after being hit with something like this, if they really would want to continue the project if they had to do a bunch of work on it again.
Yeah, this is a pretty
even
crippling
if this
blow.
time they could sell it because it would be original design.
I see. Well, I don't know about that. Something I would like to do personally, if it was at all possible, and, I'm going to say this now in hopes that someone who matters, be it, anyone with any type of connection hears this. I want to find out exactly what bronies mean to Hasbro. We know what they mean to the Hub. The Hub loves us. Every one of their casts, I can say that every one that we've heard talk has said that they're very grateful for the bronies and want to see us keep flourishing as a fan base and things like that, and they wanted to help the show keep going on for as long as it possibly can. But I want to know what we mean to Hasbro, how much they know about us, how much they understand, and how much they feel us in their pockets and how much support we actually give them, Hasbro personally. I would love to know that. I would love to talk with anyone who makes decisions or hear anyone who makes these types of decisions have anything to say. And with that, I don't have anything else to go off on, so unless you've got something to say to what I just said, I think we can wrap this up.
Well, two things to tell the people who to tell all the people reacting to this.
Mm-hmm.
One, you should really stop the suggestion of leaking the game, because although it seems
definitely.
like it can be legal, or they can't pin them with anything, I think the risk to Main 6 is too much, so really stop suggesting that.
Yeah, let's at least wait until we get an official response on Main 6's situation from Hasbro and find out exactly what they're going to do.
And the people getting all upset at the people overreacting to this, think when you tell them to calm down and stuff, do it in a nice way and not call them stupid and everything, because you assume it's just because the game's going down, but this time it's probably because it's more than that. They're afraid of the fan base actually being attacked, because it can be seen that Hasbro's attacking. So this time they semi have a reason to overreact, and keep that in mind when you tell them to settle down and be respectful about it.
Yeah, just fanning the flames of hate with more hate, and that is not what we're supposed to be about. I better not ever catch anyone doing that, and then, you know, in any past or future post say something like love and tolerate, because I will just call them a hypocrite 9 ways to Sunday. So yeah, let's all just try to keep a level head, as the saying goes. Keep calm and brony on, or canter on, or whatever the meme is. Things like that. I'm Brony Buck of Brony Debates, talking here with Skan120. Skan, we probably should have done this at the beginning of this little discussion here, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and where we can find you to hear any of your other opinions on other subjects?
Oh, right now I'll respond to anybody who sends me PMs and stuff, but I've sort of been lazy with putting out any opinion videos or stuff. But right now I have been doing a few commentaries to amuse people on my channel, which is under this name, which you can probably put in the link below.
Yeah, I'll most likely do that anyway. Alright, this has been a good discussion, the first of hopefully many. Anyone listening, if you would like to have a discussion with me, this was done over Skype, but I'm open to just about anything. If you would like to have a discussion with me about any topic, you already have my contact information. Brony Debates on Twitter, Brony Debates on Facebook, bronydebates@yahoo.com. You all have a great night. It was very good to talk to you.